Dr. Farzad Mazlumi. I'm a staff physician at Group Health, and I'm a family practice physician. I believe over the last two and a half years or so,
Okay.
she's been a patient of mine. I think when we initially met, I think the term I would use is frustration. Yeah, I think frustration with kind of the things she was dealing with from a health standpoint, specifically the diabetes, which was difficult to control at the time. And we had several meetings and several conversations about things to do to kind of keep the sugars within a normal, healthy range and things like that. Pertaining to diet, exercise, and those lifestyle changes on top of the medicine that really can help help one be successful. Yeah, I think a lot of times people they tend to be really resistant to insulin when it comes to diabetes. I think the stigma of having to stick yourself with a needle once to 4 times a day can really kind of hinder somebody and almost frighten somebody into wanting to do things like insulin. And then with any medicine, you always have to deal with side effects and things like that. And that's really a big concern a lot of patients have. And I think that was something that she was dealing with as well, and trying to take grip. Yeah, there's 2 types of diabetes. The first one, the type 1 diabetes. This tends to affect kids, young adults. This is actually an autoimmune disease where the body basically attacks the pancreas and slowly kills off the cells that make insulin. So ultimately, your sugars elevate because you're no longer able to produce any insulin. The second type of diabetes is the type 2 diabetes, and this is the one that tends to affect adults. Now we're seeing it more in younger kids who are, with the obesity epidemic that's going on. But basically, the premise behind that is that your pancreas has been working for so long to control this elevated sugar load that you've had for so long that the cells that make insulin just start to putter out, and they can't produce as much insulin as they used to. The other thing that happens is the cells that listen to the insulin to know when to take in the extra sugar, at some point they're getting bombarded with so much of that signal from the insulin that they start to not listen to the insulin signal anymore. So they stop taking in the sugar and storing it as energy for later. So those 2 things combined end up having elevated sugar in the blood system. Most people, when they start to develop diabetes, there's specific symptoms that tend to pop up. The big 3 are usually increased thirst, increased hunger, and also they tend to urinate a lot because their kidneys are processing all this sugar. They produce more urine. When it starts to get pretty severe, you can start having weight loss and things like that with it. But usually by that point, people have come in and to get evaluated, and we find that they have elevated sugars. I think it's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
One could argue that stress can cause increased cortisol levels and maybe lead to some elevated sugars. But if you're talking about stress, a lot of people do things like stress eat. I think in today's society, where especially in America, we're all working hard, working long hours, less time to take care of ourselves, and it's a pretty stressful situation, and it's kind of easy to fall back on that stress eating, and obviously more eating, more calories lead to obesity, and obesity directly puts you at higher risk of developing diabetes. Well, a lot of times I try to start off with just a sensible diet, rich in fruits, vegetables, and kind of staying away from those simple carbohydrates, things like white breads, white rice, and obviously sugars, things like cookies, candies, cakes, pies, and those type of things. And you also try to preach moderation as well, because we're all humans. I mean, you gotta have a pie every once in a while. Fruit could be a slippery slope, because those are natural, sugars, obviously. Like if you look at like an orange, or you think of orange juice, that could be a very large sugar load. In fact, we we tell people who've had low sugars because of treatments like insulin and things like that, they have low sugars to drink some orange juice. So it's another thing that's in moderation. You got to watch how much fruit you take in, because that could be a lot of natural sugar that your body has to deal with. Completely blown away. Completely blown away. It's refreshing as a doctor to have a patient who has really turned things around in regards to their lifestyle. Really got the diet squared away and has become physically active and has lost a significant amount of weight. It's just refreshing to find that in somebody, because a lot of times it's this constant struggle, it's this up and down, back and forth, and there's not a lot of progress. But she really, took it to heart, and has been working hard and has seen incredible results. I'm happy for her, and I'm proud of all the work she's put in. A lot of things. There's a lot of resources available online, like from the endocrine societies, the American Diabetes Association. They have a lot of resources for patients, looking for advice on exercise and diet and weight loss and managing their diabetes.
Well, hello, I'm Lisette Martinez. I have been with Dr. Mazumi for a couple years, and I know at the beginning it was very frustrating because for me it was eating just to kind of feel good, and it was living to eat instead of eating to live, and I was consuming so much food and utilizing medications to kind of counteract the food that I was eating, which was bad. You never want to do that, and yet I didn't want to take insulin, so I was killing myself on both ends, and my numbers were really high. I was really increasing the weight as I ate and consumed a lot more food, and I really wasn't feeling good. I was fatigued all the time, I was sleeping all the time. It was just a constant battle with myself and why I couldn't stop eating so much, and I had to do something. And so I really had to listen to my doctor and make some real life changes. And so I had to invest in myself and hire a trainer to keep me accountable for what I was doing, and that's how I came to Hank at Lean Styles, was to really seek that help and support with keeping me working out, getting me a good exercise plan, and being there step by step to help me understand how exercise and how weight training can really affect even my eating habits and my physical fitness. And so he helped me through that journey, and really helped me understand how to exercise right, and then helped me also eat the right foods that my doctor was telling me to eat. So the first thing was first, exactly what Dr. Mazumi said. Completely eliminate sugar, like white rice, white potatoes, bread, all of those carbohydrates and sugars that have no nutritional value to the human body, for anybody, and learning how to really live without that, and eating fruit, eating vegetables. I eliminated fruit at first because of the sugar, and I didn't want to have that hinder my progress, so I just really kind of stayed within the perimeter of the grocery store instead of internally, and started really buying more lean meats and a lot of green vegetables. Learned how to like green vegetables. And also eat the right carbohydrates when I train. So I learned that when you do lift weights, you do need some glucose in your blood to be able to have the strength to exercise. And at first I didn't believe my trainer, but there were times where I didn't eat the right carbs and was pooped out when I worked out. It was horrible. You feel really weak, and then you have a lot of pain the next day. So I learned my lesson and learned that eating the right carbs, like a sweet potato, plain sweet potato with no brown sugar or anything like that, or oatmeal or brown rice, really help you when you're working out and lifting weights. So
Okay.
he taught me how to eat the right foods that I was supposed to be eating, and working out right, and taking my multivitamins, and supplementing with extra protein after I work out to help with building muscle, and learning that weight training helps really with the weight loss even faster than cardio. So it was still a mix of both. So he taught me how to kind of work that with cardio and weight training too. So a lot, but everything that my doctor said, I really had to be accountable, and I had to invest in really getting a trainer to get me in line to do it. Because family, they want you to eat what they're eating. They don't want to eat what you're eating. So it's hard, especially at family gatherings. So I think at the beginning, even with work, it's difficult, especially when you have a break room and coworkers bringing donuts every morning and things you're not supposed to be eating. At the very beginning, it's difficult. You kind of put yourself in a bubble, and it's kind of lonely because you don't go out with your friends to eat anymore. You don't go to the movies because the smell of the popcorn just grabs you. You don't go to family gatherings or parties at the beginning. It takes a good 6 months to mentally prepare yourself to be able to go out and eat right, eat out in restaurants, and eat with your friends, and be mentally prepared to trust yourself to make the right choices. So it takes a long time to get to that point. So at the beginning, it's very lonely. You kind of disconnect. You're not with your friends a lot. You kind of lose some friends in the process. So for me, it was a process where I had to kind of stay at home, stick to my meal prepping, making sure that I stayed on what I was doing, because Hank has taught me that it takes about 6 months for your mind to be able to make the right choices. And he was right. And now I can go to any restaurant, and I know that I don't even order on the menu. I just say I need a piece of grilled salmon with no seasoning, or grilled chicken. They always have a vegetable. so I get grilled zucchini, or I get steamed broccoli or something, and I order that without even looking at the menu. I just say, this is what I need to eat. Yeah, really, the gym is my encouragement through the process, and that becomes your family at the beginning, because everything else you have to eliminate in order to be able to mentally prepare yourself for a new lifestyle, because I can't never stop this. My diabetes will never go away. I'll always be diabetic. It's just now controlled.
In closing, the journey can be arduous. Sometimes it can be long. There'll be times that you'll doubt yourself. You'll doubt the medical professionals who are trying to help you. But you have to stay on the grind. You have to keep working at it, and if you do so, and you're dedicated, and you stick to things, things are possible. And I think that she's a shining example of that.
My family's proud of me now, and the coworkers are proud, and now they're like, well, you don't have to lose any more weight. And I said, yes, I do. I still have to continue my journey. So they still try to, want a piece of cake. They still try to ask, and offer stuff, but they've realized that I've made healthy choices and that I'm going to continue. So they're proud of me.
Dr. Farzad Mazaloumi, family physician for Group Health.
I'm Lisette Martinez.